Hi, this is Eddie Hearn, and you're watching Lights Out.
This is Faisal Khan for Lights Out, proudly sponsored by Spartans Law. We're here at the iconic Legends MMA gym in my hometown of Luton. Delighted to be joined by a man that I've heard so much about, a man that I've seen a lot about on social media. But it's finally good to meet him, Mr. Sam Creasey. Sam, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. Sam, like I said, I've heard so much about you. I've seen you in a lot of people's social media clips, people that come here to train, to work out. A lot of people speak very highly of you. You've got a good reputation. What have you done to deserve that reputation? Talk to me a bit about Sam Creasey, the type of guy you are, what got you into MMA, and just talk to me about your sort of like career so far.
I would say I've probably honed my reputation over a long period of time now through hard work, consistency, and a willingness to never give up. I think that's what I show to a lot of people, and to never be beaten. That kind of attitude to go into fights, into training with. I haven't come into MMA like in a traditional sort of way, if you like. I've not, or I didn't do any martial arts until I was 21. I've been playing rugby previously and wasn't getting any bigger, so I needed to swerve from that. So my brother dragged me into an MMA gym locally. We didn't actually have a coach. It was just a basement at the time, some mats, and say eight of us who were pretty consistent for a few years. Those 8 changed over time, but me and my brother stayed consistent, and I've managed to get where I am today. Been a 3-time world champion, black belt in BJJ now, and pretty well-deserved record, I feel, as one of the top flyweights in the world.
I asked you where do you consider home, and you say you've been all over, and I said the ring is definitely your well-known home, but you've been all over by the sounds of it. I mean, what parts of the world have you visited, and what part of the world is it that really inspired you to take this step into the sort of MMA background, and what has traveling the world taught you?
So the MMA scene has changed a lot over the years. And travelling over the world it's taught me a few things, but really the MMA scene in the UK right now matches up anywhere around the world, really. And that's what I've noticed over the years. Like when I see some of these youngsters coming through now, they know more in the first 3 years than I probably took 6 or 7 years to figure out myself. I've travelled around the world though. Spent a month in Brazil. Getting my ass handed to me on a daily basis, learning like what real Vale Tudo was in their traditional term. It was good. Like taught me real lessons on toughness and the willingness to stick it out. And on that first day I arrived, they made sure to give me a real good beating because I was the gringo. I was the gringo walking in. Mr. Rich Man can fly to Brazil, come out here and think he can just come on our mat and train with the pros. So they give me a good beating over a couple of days in that, and kept on showing up day after day. And eventually, when I left, the coach, the team, they took me out for a big meal, and that said, like, you're welcome anytime you want. It's free. Just come here. You're part of the family now. I've travelled to Team Alpha Male in America. That was after a loss. I was a loss for a title. I think my first title loss, and I had a question to answer. Am I really that good? I've been mixing it up with a lot of the guys in the UK for however long, but I wanted to go somewhere else where I could go and test myself against like real UFC level guys, I guess. And I was good. I'm better than I think sometimes, I guess. But it was a great experience. I got a lot of time with the coaches. gave myself a good reputation off of the back of that as well. And it's something I can bring back to the boys here now. But like I said, the UK scene has grown over the years. There's so much more for these young fighters now to have going into the pro ranks, and that they're far better equipped to have a successful professional career than we were at the time.
It seems like you've given the majority of your life to this sport, traveling the world, being away from family, being out of your comfort zone is, a test for anybody. I don't think me personally I could do it. I mean, tell me to stay away more than a week from home, I end up getting homesick. But how long do you think you've got left in the sport, number one? And number two, you seem very confident of the young future coming up. What's the sport got to do to invest more in the future of the sport, and how do we take care of the younger fighters coming up in the MMA world?
So I'll start with that question first. I think it's just nurturing their talent from a younger age. I think we've all got the potential to do something great. It's if somebody believes in you and will give you the right path and the right tools to go and achieve it. And then it's that consistency and that hard work. That's the only thing that kept me in this sport for as long as it did. I was told by many people after I lost fights, you should probably get a normal job now. Get a proper job. You want to do this all your life, do you? You can lose all your brain cells, blah, blah, blah. And I've never given up. I've kept that consistency throughout, and that's what I like to see from my younger students. And that try and bring them with you almost. They can then turn into a training partner eventually, and they will exceed you. At some point, they're going to be better than you, and they're going to show the way to the next generation to make this, potentially as a professional. For me, I'm 38. I should probably be on the back end of my career. Probably.
Something tells me you're just getting started.
Yeah. Well, because I didn't start martial arts until very late, and I'm very, very strict with my training and that. There's never really an off button with me. I feel like I'm mid-20s still. I'm still competing with all the young guys and that in the gym. And I feel if there is a point where my physical abilities degenerate, drastically or obviously, then that would be a clue to step away from the sport. Because I only do it to be the best, I don't want to be the average guy. I want to keep fighting the best guys in the world. And then, obviously, got to look after the brain at some point. So if I start to repeat myself too much, if there's any obvious signs that I'm looking too good, I've told my family and my extended family, you got to talk to me, you got to tell me, Sam, you're repeating the same thing however many times. It's time to take a break, look after yourself. I don't think that's for me yet.
Fair enough. Listen, it's your career, it's your body, it's your mindset. I mean, if you want to carry on doing this and you feel as if that you're healthy enough and you're good enough, may you long continue. As I said to a few of the guys, I've got to pick your brains about a couple of things in the combat sports world. This is a boxing channel, but I've got time for anyone that laces a pair of gloves or puts on a pair of pads and gets into the cage or the ring. So, got a big fight this weekend. Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn. A lot of talk about the weight class, a lot of talk about the controversy leading up to the fight. Obviously, it's been built on their fathers and what they gave to the sport. So, firstly, how excited are you for this fight? And secondly, what's your prediction?
I'm excited about the fight. I think potentially some of the antics before, it didn't really need to happen. It's Benn versus Eubank. That sells itself. They didn't need all of this. This was going to be an exciting fight anyway, and people are going to tune in. I want to say Eubank Jr. for me. I think he's the cleaner, more experienced boxer, and I think Conor's a bit of a hothead, quite emotional with this, and I think if Eubank is smart and lures him into traps, then that could be potentially his way to victory. But, Benn is a puncher. He's got great power, and you can never count him out for that matter. But I think it's going to be Eubank Jr.
Can anyone beat the great Islam Makhachev right now? Look, I'll openly admit my UFC knowledge isn't amazing, but I know for a fact that guy is just on another level right now. And every time he steps up, it's like he just gets better and better and better. We saw Khabib dominate throughout his career. Are we going to see the same with Islam? And what has he got to do to sort of... What else is there that he needs to do to sort of go to that next step? And would you like to see him go up in weight? Or do you think a couple of more fights and maybe do what Khabib does and call it a day?
Right now, he looks unbeatable. He looks potentially better than Khabib was ever. But I feel to cement a legacy needs a few more defences with some decent guys. I don't know who there is for him apart from Arman at the minute to really test him. You know, everybody else is he's probably going to quite comfortably win that, which speaks to the level he's at. But I think Arman would be a good test, and then you only hope in the meantime that somebody else can come along and look really good, give him another test, and potentially that's another tick towards greatness, because you don't want that legacy to be having that question mark hanging over it always. You want to dominate, just the same way that GSP did for so long. And you look at GSP's opponents at the time, and now you'd probably write a lot of those off, but you'd say that he at least managed to go out there, win and defend and defend and defend. But I don't think at the minute anybody's going to take that belt off of him.
Sam, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. I know you said you're 38 years old, but that doesn't mean you're not allowed to have a life on social media as well. So where can the viewers and the followers find you on social media, my friend?
I'm in Insta, I'm on Facebook, you'll find me on there.
Not OnlyFans or anything like that? No?
Oh, no. I've swerved that so far.
Good living in it, apparently.
Yeah, well, we're going to make some money somehow, right? It's a fighter's game.
Go on, Sam, where can we find you on social media? Mate?
I'm Samurai Creasey on Instagram, and the same on Facebook if you want to follow my page. Hit me up, always appreciate the love, and hopefully you'll see me fighting soon.
Top man, listen, Sam, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for talking to Lights Out.
Thanks very much.